Alright guys, welcome back. I told you I didn't want to talk too much about Bitcoin, but in this video I want to talk about something that I think is very important when it comes to Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about two major reasons why I think Bitcoin is not a good way of payment these days. The first one is the volatility, and there are lots of people in the Bitcoin community who are talking for retail adoption, like it's the way of making Bitcoin great. And I can see the value of paying with Bitcoin and make them go around in the ecosystem, but I think it's way too early these days. And I was talking with Roger Ver when he came to Sweden, the guy who's being called, or he was called, Bitcoin Jesus in the past. And he's basically traveling the world and supporting Bitcoin Cash, one of the forks from Bitcoin. And before coming to Sweden, he went to Slovenia, which has like adopted Bitcoin Cash at many locations. And one of them was a grocery store. And I was asking him, like, are they really keeping the Bitcoin Cash they receive? I mean, as a business, you cannot keep something that might fall 50% from one day to another. And Roger told me that no, they are not keeping the Bitcoin Cash that they receive today, as of now, but rather they are selling them and converting them to fiat straight away. So that is of course a huge problem, because when you pay with something, the other party, this time the grocery store, they are basically putting selling pressure on the market straight away, which pushing down the price of Bitcoin Cash, naturally. However, that's one of the problems I want to talk with, and I hope that when Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies gain more in market value and become a more stable currency, that they will be used much more than they are today. However, I think that's many years away. And that's just my subjective opinion. Of course, you probably think something else. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to bring up is the probabilistic consensus that Bitcoin are using. So when I say probabilistic consensus, you are probably thinking, what the heck am I talking about? So when I'm talking about probabilistic consensus, I want you to think about you doing a transfer today or a transaction today. So when you're walking into the store, you're basically buying an ice cream or whatever you're buying. You pay for it in the cashier. What happens then is that a message is being sent to your bank, which basically says that he bought this ice cream for $2, and the bank will debit your account with $2, so you have $2 less. And that transaction is immediately finalized in a way that is called deterministic consensus. So the bank can control that this has happened, and it will never get reversed. However, if we're looking into Bitcoin, it's a totally opposite way in the way it works. Because in Bitcoin, it's called probabilistic consensus. So if something is probabilistic, it means that it's never sure, right? It's never deterministic. It's kind of the opposite of deterministic. It's probabilistic, which basically means that if you pay for something, you can never ever be sure that transaction will never ever get reversed. So to give you a very extreme example, a very unlikely example, the first ever Bitcoin transaction happened on the 3rd of January 2009. Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin, no one knows who it is, sent 50 Bitcoin to a guy called Hal Finney. That transaction happened as of now more than 10 years ago, but we can never ever be sure that transaction will never be reversed. However, it's extremely unlikely. And yeah, but to give you an even better example, if I, for example, paid for something 2 seconds ago with Bitcoin, if that would be like a centralized, if that would be a payment that went through a bank, that would be deterministic and finalized straight away. But in this way, if I paid for the $2 but in Bitcoin, this transaction has to be published to the whole network, and the whole network needs to reach consensus. And the problem is that while my transaction is being included in one of the blocks that the miners put in the Bitcoin blockchain, it might kind of clash with another block that is being mined at the same time from another miner. And then we are all dependent on the next miner, which block that the next miner decides to build its block on. Either mine or the other miner that my block were clashing with. And we don't know that until approximately 10 minutes after. So it might get reversed in that way. So I might pay for something, I might leave the store, and I can still keep my money because my Bitcoin transaction never stayed on the Bitcoin blockchain. It got reversed in that sense. Or the Bitcoin blockchain can actually get attacked in terms of electricity, and if I'm going too deep here. Anyway, I'm gonna go and talk about Bitcoin mining another time. So anyway, so the first one was retail adoption. When grocery stores or any other business receive Bitcoin, they instantly sell them, converting them to fiat, which puts sales pressure on the market and lowers the price of Bitcoin. So I would argue that retail adoption or making business accept Bitcoin is not priority number one now for Bitcoin. And the other one was the probabilistic versus the deterministic consensus. So we'll leave it for there for now. See you later.